Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ella, a second year medical student, and I've been meaning to do this kind of video for so long, but I feel like now is the perfect time, like a 3,000 subscribers special, but I want to do a Q&A. So I put a question sticker on my Instagram story like a few days ago, I think, or like a week ago, and a lot of you guys have replied, and I also looked at some of the YouTube comments as well. So I have a bit of questions compiled and I'm really excited to start this video for you guys. And just before we start, thank you so much for people who have subscribed. I couldn't have done this without you guys, and I really like just having this like YouTube community where you guys just like, you know, comment down ideas with questions, and it's just really nice. And it's just a really nice community in general, so thank you for everyone who has subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe as well. Okay, so I'm planning to split this video into 3 sections. First one is just going to be questions about me, so just like general questions about me. And the second section is going to be about studying in general, or like just life, like productive life, like school, sixth form, that kind of thing. And the third one, which I think is going to be like the major one, is medicine. So without any further ado, let's get started. I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, so the first question is, how old are you? I actually just turned 19 very recently in August. So yeah, I'm 19. This was a funny question, simple question, how are you? I'm doing quite good actually lately. I mean, it's summer, so it's just, you know, relaxing and kind of just building my stamina and energy for the start of second year. And yeah, I feel like I've been having just quite a nice balance with like just exercising. I've been going on runs lately. I'm trying to train for this half marathon like program on the Nike Run app, which is quite cool, so that's something that I've been doing. Yeah, I just feel like my days have a bit more structure now. I've been also trying to wake up early, which has been going quite good. And yeah, so I think I'm doing quite good. Thank you for asking. Third question is, how many languages can you speak? So I can speak Arabic and English fluently, so that's my main 2 languages, and I've also been learning Korean and Japanese on and off. So Korean is definitely like a higher level than Japanese. It's more of a conversational level, but if the conversation goes to more like difficult topics, then I won't be able to really involve myself in the conversation. But yeah, so mainly just Korean, and the Japanese is kind of on and off, and I wouldn't say that I'm really good at it. I would say I'm still a really beginner. Do you have a favorite book series or a favorite manga / anime? Okay, so I'm gonna split that into 2 questions. Favorite book series. Okay, so there's 2 series that like pop up in my head when I hear this question. First one is a romance series, and I just loved like the character building, the dynamic, also like the more deeper topics that were talked about in the series. It was just so good, and that's the Binding 13 series. It's still ongoing, but there's 4 books that have come out so far, and I just loved it. The second series is an adult fantasy series, and I also loved it so much. It was like the character building, just character focus. It was so character driven. It was just amazing. And that is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. The first book is Assassin's Apprentice. And guys, this is like legit my favorite fantasy series, so you have to check it out. It's so good. Now for a favorite manga or anime, I think I'm gonna do a really basic and say One Piece. Like I can't think of anything, like there's other things that stood out in my mind as well, but One Piece is just that one anime like that I think is my favorite. Next question is, what are you currently reading? So I actually haven't read in quite a bit. I'm kind of in a book slump right now, but I think I'm still meant to be reading Matchup trilogy by Robin Hobb, so that's the second trilogy from Farseer trilogy. And I also recently read Kite Runner, which was really good, so I definitely recommend you guys have a read of that. Next question is, are you originally from London? If not, how was adjusting to London lifestyle? So I moved to London in year 8. I just basically moved to the UK in year 8. So I'm not originally from London, yes. I think adjusting to London lifestyle, it wasn't too bad. I don't think it was that big of an adjustment. It was just understanding like some nuances that people might say. Yeah, I don't think adjusting is too bad. What's your favorite book? So this is a bit different from book series. The other one was book series. Favorite book as in like standalone, I have 2 favorite ones. So there's A Man Called Ove, which I've actually mentioned in a vlog before, and I really love this book. I read it recently. And Kite Runner, which I also just mentioned, it was really good. So definitely recommend you guys have a read of those books. Then we have, who are your favorite YouTubers? So this one's a bit difficult. I don't think I have a favorite YouTuber, but there's just some YouTubers that I watch quite often. Actually, let me look at my list. Okay, so I quite like Linda Sutton. I quite like Karma Medic as well. I think all medical students know of Karma Medic and Ali Abdel. I also quite like Dr. Izzy Seeley and By Grace. I think By Grace is quite nice, just like, you know, comforting vlogs, that kind of thing. And Sabrina Azhar as well. And Via Lee. I don't have like a favorite YouTuber, I just watch whatever comes up in my For You page basically. Okay, so that's it for the about me section. Next section is just studying in general, like productivity, that kind of thing. First question is best tips for a work and life balance. Okay, this one, I think the most important thing in work and life balance is just simply time management. Having a tool where you can manage your time, things like, for example, using calendar to just slot out the time periods that you have something or you have a commitment, so then knowing the time that you can, you know, try and fit in some stuff. And something I would also really recommend is before you sleep or once you wake up, having a to-do list, just writing whatever comes to your mind, but this just helps in making the day more organized and just giving you a few goals that you should get on with through the day while also relaxing and watching series or whatever you do for like relaxation. So I think that's the two main things for work and life balance, just having a time blocking method or a calendar where you can always just check your commitments, and also having a to-do list. Next question is, how do you try to be productive? I think the main reason, so this is, I'm gonna like answer it in a more of like a summer mindset instead of like an exam studying mindset. I think the main thing that makes me want to be productive and makes me try to be productive is just, it's never a good feeling when you spend the whole day on bed just, you know, kind of like not doing anything. I think you always end up just thinking, oh, I kind of wasted this day. So I kind of try and be productive in really basic things, like for example just reading a book, or you know, if there's something I'm interested in, like looking more into it. So I would also recommend doing to-do lists, which I mentioned before. Just having to-do lists in the morning or before you sleep is really helpful. Trying to get exercise in, that kind of stuff. That's generally how I try to be productive. It's not too much of a rigid schedule in summer, obviously. What motivates you to study? That's the next question. I think what motivates me to study is just not wanting to feel that regret after I get an exam result. And I think a lot of us might have felt that way at one time or another, but once you get your exam results and you just look at the test and you think, damn, like I know I could have gotten better. It's not a nice feeling at all. And something that I quite like, and it's like a quote, I don't know who said it actually, I've heard it quite a few times, it's the pain of discipline is better than the pain of regret. I think for me that's what motivates me to study, and I'm not saying that I'm always motivated to study, sometimes I just have to force myself. And the best thing, like trust me, the best thing is when you get exam results and you look at it, and it might not be the best thing, but just knowing that I put in as much effort as I possibly could have. And then if I also link it to the medicine field, it's also like things like all this information that I'm currently learning is all going to be beneficial for patients in the future. It's all going to determine whether I'm a good doctor or not, how much I'm going to be able to help my patients. So things like that also motivate me to study. Next question is how to actually memorize lots of content and make it stick. I think this depends on the subject that you're studying, but the thing that helped me so much and that I noticed really helped me in memorizing content and making information stick is actually understanding what I'm trying to memorize. So understanding the concept behind things is just so helpful, guys, like genuinely so helpful. And I've noticed now that I've come out of year one, the topics that I felt shaky on were the topics that I was simply just trying to memorize without understanding. So I think that's something that's really important, understanding the relevance of the thing that you're trying to memorize. Next question is year 13 tips and advice, especially as a Muslim. So I think just in general, making sure that you're on top of all the lessons. So at the start of year 13, the first few months, basically just making sure that you're on track. If there's any lessons that you missed from year 12, then making sure that you recap on those things and make sure that you have notes and everything is really important, because once you get to that period where you start studying for A-levels, it's not nice at all discovering that you have a certain topic that you didn't make notes for and then just having to spend effort and time making the notes for that topic when you should be just doing practice questions, etc. In terms of religion, praying often is important. Like, make sure you have a good connection with God and your religion is so important. So just praying and knowing that you put in hard work and everything, but in the end everything is in the hands of God. So just having that mentality is important, and just praying often, like making dua and stuff, is important. Okay, so that's it for the studying section. Next section is medicine related like topics. So let's get started with that. First question is obviously like the most basic question, but it's like, why did you study medicine? And my answer is not going to be like an interview answer, okay? But I think for me, I've literally always been drawn to medicine. I've always loved biology and chemistry so much. And especially in biology, I've always loved the human biology aspect of it. Like, trust me, I hated plant and animal biology. It was awful. But for me, like, since I was young, since like year 8, I've just always enjoyed biology. So kind of I've always leaned to medicine, if that makes sense. All throughout the years, I can't think of anything else to do except doing medicine. It was literally to that extent. And thank God now that I finished first year, I genuinely enjoyed the study so much. Like, medicine is such an enjoyable subject, truly. You just learn about how the body works, and then just looking at like diseases and stuff and how it affects the body is just so enjoyable. So yeah, I think that's why I studied medicine. Obviously it's not an interview answer at all, but that's just basically why I studied medicine. Next question is, what are things you wish you could do differently in year 1? I think for me, just looking back at year 1, the thing that I wish I could have done differently would have been to just focus more on committing. I kind of have an issue, and I think quite a lot of us have this issue where I say, okay, I join a society, for example, or I say I'm gonna go to a certain event, and then like last minute I don't want to go anymore, I'm feeling lazy, so I don't go. And that's an issue that I really have to fix with myself, and just being able to commit. If I say yes to something, I am going. I signed up to a few other societies, like specialty societies, and there were quite a few speaker events that they had, and they seemed really interesting. I think I could have benefited from them. But I would sign up to them, and then last minute, like a few hours before the session, I would just be laying on my bed just being like, I don't want to go anymore, and I don't go. So I think that's something I wish I would have done differently in year one. Looking into this question, I also made a video recently about what I wish I knew before starting medicine. So these are things that I think kind of apply to this question as well. So make sure you check out that video. I think it'll be quite helpful. Third question is, do you have any recommendations of part-time jobs for medical students? I don't think I have specific part-time job recommendations, but I think the most important thing is choosing a job that has flexible hours or just hours that suit you. So I worked throughout year one, but I would work 8 hours a week, which was like a really small amount. And it was like, I found it really manageable, and I was able to balance my life around work. So make sure that when you're applying to part-time jobs, you're really like focusing on the number of hours and is it flexible or not. But in terms of like actual part-time jobs, I actually know a colleague who worked as a receptionist in the university, and what he would do is his hours were basically from like 5 to 4 p.m. onwards. So that meant that not a lot of people actually went in to the reception. So what he was able to do is he was just able to get work done while he was working, and just like, you know, studying while he was working. So I think if you could find something like that, that's also quite nice. Next question is, what did you include in your personal statement and how did you find acceptance rates? I think obviously in personal statement you include things like your experiences, any skills, extracurriculars that you've done, etc. I think the most important thing in your personal statement is to always link back and reflect on your experience. If you put in an experience without reflecting and linking back on it, then it's not going to be helpful at all, it's not going to be beneficial at all, it's just going to be a waste of space. So making sure that if you put an experience, just say what you learned from it, how does it link back to medicine, and then reflecting what changes that you took upon yourself after you had this experience. So things like that is really important in your personal statement. And for the next question, how did you find acceptance rates? I think the most important thing of like applying to medical students is being really strategic about it. So looking at, for example, your predicted grades, your GCSE results, and looking at like your UCAT exam results, and just being really strategic and seeing what universities are most likely to offer you an interview. Just basically applying to these universities. I think that's the most important thing. Obviously you can have one risky choice or two risky choices, and not applying to any university that has entrance requirements that are higher than what you have, because if the entrance requirements are written exactly in the website, like has to be higher than that, and you got lower than that, then most likely they're not going to look at your application at all. So yeah, just generally applying strategically is very important. Last question is, how is it as a Muslim student in medical school, do you get to interact with different people? I feel like my university is really diverse, and most London universities are really diverse as well, so I didn't feel any difference. And obviously you get to interact with different people. This is completely up to you. If you are more keen on going to different societies and stuff, then you're going to meet a lot of different people. It's just up to you basically. And yeah, so I've applied to different societies, and I would attend a lot of like different societies as well, and I felt like I was able to communicate and just get to know a lot of different people. So it's up to you. My university is quite diverse, and I think most universities in the UK, just as the UK is really diverse, and I don't think I felt any different. It was quite a nice environment to be in. Okay, that's it for the video, guys. I hope it was an enjoyable watch. If you have any more questions that you'd like me to answer, make sure you comment them down below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to press the like button and press the notification button as well. Get notified about any new videos that I post. And if you have any other video ideas that you'd like to see as well, make sure you comment them down below. And that's it for the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!